And there is something else that becomes very visible with the quantum. It immediately begins to show us that there is a tremendous linkage at a deeper level, instantaneous linkage with the rest of the creation. You don't even need a light signal to go from one lump to another lump to pass a message. At a deeper level, they are interconnected in intimate manner, instantaneously. This defies normal physical laws or physical ideas of world. There is a third aspect of the quantum that makes everybody get really nervous about it. It says for this unusual feature to become macro and become this weird thing called matter, you require something which is not matter already. Otherwise it can't flip it. You need something which is non-material to make this thing flip. Common sense. And here we come across a new word entering the realm of physics which the physicists hate. And the word is, you need a conscious observer. This is consciousness. We don't want this nonsense. This is a material science. Stay out. We don't want this conscious chap to enter our field. We know this objective reality we deal with. How did this conscious chap get into it? And then they make quips. Whenever a paradigm is challenged, the first reaction is always to ridicule it or to become indifferent to it. And this is very visible with quantum. So you get this quip saying, oh, do you mean to say that the moon cannot come into being unless a frog looks at it, says Stephen Hawking? He thinks he's already got over it. He has not really explained or understood the phenomena. Why do we need a conscious observer to flip this micro into macro, this very fluid thing to become this crass and gross material world? You need something that is non-material. We don't know how to define it, but we use the word consciousness. And the only way modern science, modern physics today tries to get around this issue, you find this very interesting, is to say, in order to avoid this need to have a conscious observer for this thing to flip, let us not let it flip at all. Do you know how they do it? They say, now if you believe this, you believe anything. They say the universe is breaking itself into infinite copies of itself at every infinitesimal second of time. So while I'm talking to you, infinite copies of me have already gone somewhere else. And this is happening not every second, every infinitesimal second of a time, of a moment. Now this is, if you like, normally science thrives on convergence. Things you try and explain things with lesser and lesser number of variables. You are cracking this universe into infinite copies of itself just in order to avoid the conscious observer. Oh yes, we want to do that. And you want to believe that? Yes, we want to believe that, rather than have consciousness. This is the most ludicrous thing, because this is the most uneconomical model that you can ever devise. And science says we'll play with it because we don't know what we are dealing with, so we'll carry on with these infinite copies of itself all the time to avoid this conscious chap to enter the system. This is divergence with a vengeance. So poor Occam must be kind of shuddering in his grave. I told these science people, try and converge, give a more economic worldview. And you are struggling, so you kind of come up with this most divergent worldview. This is also visible in particle physics. I want to talk about that. Of trying to get this nest of Russian dolls and ending up with the 11-dimensional space-time universe. And you say, you see, this is the best model we have. It's such an elegant theory. What elegant? If you've got 11-dimensional space-time, you can produce infinite variety of universes, and of course one will fit yours. What's so special about it? And one of them will have Harry Potter as well. Guaranteed. Because they're infinite. It will be there. You see how ridiculous the whole thing becomes. Because science is struggling to challenge this materialistic approach, it is prepared to go down these blind alleys of infinite universes and all these multi-level ideas. Now we take the journey into another science deliberately, because the word consciousness arose. What is this consciousness, we ask? Let us go into the life sciences, the biological science. How do they define life? I mean, the kind of stuff I hear, and I of course like to pull my hair out, is this. Whenever science struggles, it is a habit of producing a jungle of jargon and getting lost in it. Just because it can't handle some of these kind of unusual features, it'll produce a whole jungle of jargon. You heard some, I'm sure, this morning. And you get lost in it. Say, wow, such fantastic, but I don't know where I am. They say this life thing, what is this life thing? They say, well, this is a dissipative structure far from equilibrium. It's an emergent phenomena in an epigenetic, complex systems of structures within structures. Make of it what you like. I tell you how I found the best definition of living things. It's nice to find simple ways of understanding difficult things. They say, this is how we define a living thing. Suppose you find a piece of rock, and you are in a kind of weird mood, and you want to kick the piece of rock. You go and kick it. Knowing your physics, of course you know your physics and maths, you can work out its trajectory to the nearest millimeter. So far, so good. Suppose you are in an even more weird mood and you're walking about and you see a dog, and you feel like, now you see, I'm a mild-mannered Hindu who is against violence towards animals in the name of science. So I'm saying just carry out the thought experiment. So you see a dog and you say, go for it. You know, one thing is for sure. We don't know, we can't work out the trajectory of the dog, but one thing is very likely, he'll go for your leg. This is, I'm trying to define life in simplistic terms. This is what life is defined as in the Hindu tradition. It is not that it's something that is in compliance with the physical world that we see in front of us. It's not in compliance, it stands up against it. It is in defiance of it. This is how we define life. And in biological science, this is how they define. They say it is as if there is an autonomous structure that interacts with its environment in a selective manner. The word is selective. So it is not dictated by nature. It is at best, kind of disturbed by nature, external. It's not directed. It's not dictated by. It's just disturbed. It's going, ouch, don't do that to me. That's a living thing. The unique feature about living thing, one thing that makes it very special is that it has got this power of cognition. Even a single cell thing is able to suss out its environment, move towards light or heat, is able to suss out. It's becoming somehow rudimentarily conscious. Cognition is the word. It seems to recognize somehow something is different has become visible. Sometimes, in order to demolish the idea of something special, there is something special about living things, people say, we see it's artificial intelligence, Mr. Lakhani. It's nothing more than, if you like, this processing power of the brain. Something that processes information the way we define life. You might think that's a good thing, sounds nice, kind of modern age. But your laptop that you possess, each and every one of you, I'm sure, can process information 1 billion times faster than you ever can. What does it say about you? The computer is alive, you are dead. This is not that simplistic. And when we look at the life sciences and we come to this idea of a human being, with this advanced nervous system, this brain, this awareness which was rudimentary becomes more visible as consciousness. Again, I will not go into a definition of consciousness that are given out by modern speakers, the functional thing in the brain, purely, and you can reduce it to the neurons, and neuroreductionists like Rick. I will not touch any of them. I went to the